Hey guys, it's Maddie, and I am back with another video for you guys. Um, yeah, so let's get started. This video, I would like to focus more on st uh, uh, stuttering and how it affects mental health and the thought processes that occur. Um, Personally, I'm when I'm stuttering it and I'm stuck in a block. Um, so yeah, let's get started. I would first like to start out with my fancy board. Um, so basically, what what this is it's called the stuttering iceberg. And what you see up here on top is what is seen on the outside, which is the stuttering that people who stutter deal with. And under here are emotions and feelings that people who stutter deal with, like fear, guilt, shame, isolation, avoidance, loneliness, and anxiety. So, as you know, I have stuttered for a long, long time. I can't remember a time when I didn't stutter, but since I've stuttered, I've had to deal with the mental health repercussions of of doing so. Um, it's often been very hard trying to remind myself that it's okay and it's all right that I'm not as fluent as everyone else. Um, I developed an anxiety disorder and depression, which both runs in my family and and also is probably a side effect of stuttering as well. I was treated for a long, long time, and I'm finally to a place where I feel feel okay, and I really owe that 100% to my my therapists, my parents, and everyone who's supported me throughout the years. My husband has has supported me from the very beginning, and his support really has helped me get through a lot of tough times in my life. Um, so, what happens when I stutter? What is going through my head? I have a lot of people who 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 ask me that question. A lot of the time, the first thing I hear and I'm aware of when I stutter is the silence that comes along with a block. I am very in tune, and that silence often makes me feel very uncomfortable because I want the listener to know that I'm still trying to talk. So I will often use fillers like or um I'll either do that or I'll repeat the previous word and I can't seem to get the next word started properly. Um, the next thing that I might have going on up here is just a negative, nagging voice up here going, you can say that word. You've said it before. Why aren't you saying it properly? What's wrong with you? Um, a huge part of stuttering for me has always been the negative self-talk, which is it really tears you down. It makes you feel upset and angry. Um, but you've got to learn it. It's hard to. It's really hard to, but to just push it away and just talk at your own pace and do what you need to do to get a word out, whether it be to get through it, try and use some kind of a technique, or just start a word a little bit differently. When I really get stuck is when I get kind of kind of emotional. I and I have those really tough blocks. And I finally get them out. Sometimes I just let out a few tears. I just I just think about how hard that was, and I move forward. There just isn't time to to dwell on how hard that word is, and you just need to keep moving forward and just try to do a little bit better on the next word you do, and keep yourself a little bit more loose, loose, loose when possible. Um, Another thing that might go through someone's head who stutters is, um, can I replace a word with something shorter or easier for me to say? Like, can I replace the word replace with 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 switch? Now, in my case, I have a lot of issues with S's, so I would probably stick with the word replace it instead of switch. So it really depends on what sounds are harder for you. A, a lot of stutterers have certain sounds that they 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 have issues with. Mine just happens to be with most of the sounds in the English language. Um, and yes, I do stutter in other languages as well. I took French when I was in a high school. I don't use it at at all now, but my speech sounded just the same in that language as well. So let's talk about tactics that people who stutter sometimes use or fall into as a result of stuttering, such as guilt and isolation, um, and some avoidance tactics. So, as as you can well guess, stuttering is often very difficult for people to to bear and to get through. It takes a lot of self exploration, self acceptance to really avoid using these unintentional tactics to keep yourself from talking. Um, I used to use avoidance a lot so that I wouldn't have to talk to people. I would have my parents order for me at restaurants. I would have them answer, have them make and answer phone calls for me. I would just avoid speaking situations because I was nervous. I was scared of how people would react, and now that I've come to be more comfortable in my own skin, I'm more willing to speak up during during meetings. Um, I I answer the phone and make calls at work now. I'm I'm learning to be okay with the unknown and to just let a stutter be what it is, because I, I can't I can change it, but it it is what it is, and it's a part of me. Um, One thing I used to do a ton when I stuttered and I was talking to people is I would apologize up and down. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. I'm so sorry I took up your time. But now that's another thing I've come to realize is okay. I don't need to apologize for how I talk. I was given this. I got this for some reason from God, whether it be from Him, what it is from Him, you know? We all have our crosses that we have to bear, and this one is mine. And I shouldn't have to apologize for something that I cannot control all the time. It's not my fault I talk this way. This is how I talk, and people need to accept that. And they need to be willing to listen, because what I have to say is just as important as anyone else, as any fluent person out there. It's just as important that I get to say what I want to say. Um, yeah. How about we talk about loneliness? Um, Loneliness was also something that I really dealt with a lot before we found Camp Shoutout in 2011. My mom was just looking online one day, and she found this new camp, and she signed me up for it immediately. And that was one of the best things that my parents have ever done for me, is pushed me into going to this camp, because it 110% changed my life and how I feel about my stutter, and it helped evolve me into a person I am today, into a stutterer who is comfortable in her own skin and comfortable with having a stutter. At that point in my life, I didn't really know anyone else who stuttered. And when I went, I met so many incredible people. Every year I've gone, I've met so many incredible people. I've met people my age who stutter, people who are older who stutter, and we still talk to this day. Camp Shoutout allowed me to make these bonds with these incredible people who know exactly what it's like to stutter and to struggle and to to be a person who stutters, I guess. And it it was also great. It's also been great meeting speech language pathologists who know about stuttering, because a lot of the uh, speech therapists around here, before I went to camp, didn't know about stuttering, and it was nice going to a place where people knew what it was, and it was also cool teaching graduate students about my perspectives and what worked as far as therapy for me, because all of the campers work with a graduate student who is in college training to be a speech pathologist. So camp has really helped me feel like I'm not alone anymore, and that I have a huge support system backing me up. So yeah, woohoo! Yay for camp shout out. So yeah, that's about it as far as the mental health goes. For me, I highly recommend uh, regular speech therapy with some emphasis on the mental health components, and even regular old therapy with licensed psychologists and psychiatrists. Um, talk to people. Don't be afraid to tell people how you feel, and to better your mental health. Therapy therapy is not something to be ashamed of, or or embarrassed by. Therapists and therapy are 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 gifts, and anything that can help you to feel better and to be more comfortable in your skin are 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 great tools and should be used. So, well, all right, guys. Once again, if you guys have any questions, leave them for me down there in the comments below, and I will see you all soon. Keep on talking.